Exploring Joliet is produced by students at the University of St. Francis. This show helps to better inform you of our city, people, plans, and activities.
Today I'm here with Professor McHugh of the University of St. Francis to talk about the first presidential debate. As a speech professor, what did you think of both candidates' performances?
That's a good question, Jessica. Thanks for asking it. And I've been struggling with how I should answer this because a debate is different than a regular speech. With a speech, you prepare a couple, 3 points, you make sure you know them, you deliver them, you summarize for folks, but a debate is a little bit different. You do have some pre-memorized things that you want to talk about, but you really don't know what the questions are going to be. You may have an idea, but you don't know what they're going to be, so you have to rehearse several different answers. As far as the performance of the first presidential debate went, there wasn't a whole lot of public speaking going on. People pundits have parsed over this debate a lot. President Trump just continually interrupted. Vice President Biden tried to get words in edgewise, and he eventually got angry and said some things he probably wished he didn't say. Nothing that was any worse than what the president said, but overall it really wasn't any kind of debate. The American people were the ones who lost out on this because they didn't get to hear the positions of either of the candidates because there was too many people stepping over one another. Unfortunately, I think that was the president's plan all along, is to intentionally try and provoke the vice president to see if he could get him to stumble, to see if he could get him to stutter, to see if he could get him to make mistakes. And as a speech teacher, that's really abhorrent because it goes against all the principles of public speaking. As a political strategist, though, if that was President Trump's strategy, he achieved it. He nailed it to the wall because he got Vice President Biden to stumble a bit, not as much as he wanted, but he did what he wanted to do. Now, the problem is, will it backfire on him? And I think it already has, because more people are saying he was rude and a bully than to say that he really got his points across. So as far as a public speech goes, there wasn't much of that. But as a debate, there wasn't much of that either. So I'd give them both failing grades.
Absolutely. I agree with you, Professor McHugh. It was messy, to say the least.
It was tough to watch and tough to listen to.
Yes. Recently, President Trump said he would not engage in a virtual debate. In your opinion, does it really matter whether or not the debate is in person or online?
As we've all discovered about this during the pandemic here, we've learned to do things online that we never would have thought were possible before. I mean, I taught a speech class online last semester, and in years past I was vehemently opposed to teaching speech online because I thought you needed the in-person experience. I was wrong. And I'll admit it, I was wrong. So I think an online debate, there's no reason why it couldn't work. I think the president as we talked about before, I think the president, his strategy would be to try and interrupt the vice president, and he wouldn't be able to do that if they were in separate rooms or separate states, for instance. People who were running the debate would be able to control whether his microphone was on or off. People who were running the debate would be able to control whether or not his video was on or off. So I think the president has said that he won't participate if it's virtual because he loses the control that he had during the first debate.
Yes, absolutely.
If you'd like to talk about the vice presidential debate, because that one
let's start on
happened.
that topic. Kamala Harris, I thought she had a very professional way of speaking. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it was such diametrically opposed to the presidential debate.
Yeah.
They were for the most part calm. They were for the most part
Collected. Yes.
trying to get out their individual points. The one thing that I was kind of disappointed in, both sides had a set of talking points that they wanted to stick to, and no matter what the question was, they always seemed to weave it back. For Kamala Harris, it was about the pandemic. For Vice President Pence, it was about the economy. And so they always seemed to weave whatever the question was back to those subjects, which is kind of a shame because we the American people didn't get a chance to hear some of the platforms, some of the plans from Kamala Harris, or some of the responses from Vice President Pence. So kind of a shame, but at least they behaved a lot better than the presidential debate.
Definitely. Well, that's one thing for sure. The debates really give us something to think about, and it gives us a good perspective on what we're voting for and what will be coming in November. Thank you so much for talking to me today, Professor McHugh.
You're entirely welcome, and no matter who you vote for, just make sure you go out and vote, please.
What will you take for college? Mom says teacher, Dad says accountant. Grandma thinks you do great as a nurse. What do you want to do? Why not a degree in communication and media arts from the University of St. Francis in Joliet? Writing, video, audio, graphic design, social media? You'll get the creative skills to help anybody tell their story and write your own success story in the process. Visit cmma.stfrancis.edu for more info.